Hi everybody, my name is Bish Puddin, also Artsy Me TT on Instagram, and today I'm gonna overview my Artober 2020 art and prompts. Uh, all of my pieces were done in Procreate and on an iPad, just a basic iPad with an Apple Pencil. Um, it was sponsored by the Waupaca Public Library in the teen room, which is such a cool idea of doing a competition where for every prompt you did for the 31 days of October, received an entry to win art supply. And I was fortunate enough to win the art supplies, so I'll do another video with me utilizing the supplies and kind of showing others and kind of the teens of that space how to utilize that art supplies so that they can if they obtain any kind of art supplies like that, they can see what ways you can experiment, what you can achieve. So we'll just jump in. I'll share my thoughts on the prompts, some of the pieces, how I made them, and some final thoughts. So for the first one was Ghost. Had a hard time kind of picking a particular ghost I wanted to draw. Then I sketched up a tombstone that had some cloth draped over. I wanted to do some oil paint style. I got some new brushes on Procreate and was dying to try some. And then I took some framing devices by cutting off some areas and trying to draw attention around the piece. And I'm really happy with the ghost. I would have preferred to have had a better background. Day 2 was Run. That one I struggled with too because I'm not very good at drawing people in dynamic poses quite yet. And I had this idea of like a pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns type thing in my mind the whole time, and I was like, how the heck did I get that? Then I thought, let's play with some negative space and some dark colors, and this is what I achieved. I'm particularly happy with the pumpkin itself. There's some areas I probably would have cleaned up, but I didn't want to spend too much time on each piece because 31 pieces in a month is a lot for somebody who doesn't do a lot of art very much anymore due to busy life and loss of motivation, especially during this pandemic. Next was day 3, and that was Shattered. And I actually really enjoyed this prompt. I don't quite remember where I got inspiration for a blade that kind of segmented. I think I was playing a lot of Dead by Day, but I'm pretty happy with it. There's something that I'm noticing now, and it kind of shows you that, like, you know, maybe try and blow up your art onto something and then take a look at it, step back from it after you've made it. But if you look on the sword, that's actually like backwards. There we go. Their left side, a mouse. What am I doing? This line here was not supposed to show of this, but luckily the lines were kind of chaotic anyway, so it still kind of falls within the segmented line. But I would clean. It's going to do something important with it. Forward. Okay, first. This is probably one of my favorites. I was trying to do kind of a self-portrait and I was actually working on making an actual Coraline doll of myself and thought, why don't I actually get a sketch of myself as my Coraline? And so this is what came of it. Um, Played with taking some different lines, kind of messier lines, because I didn't want to spend too much time on the piece overall, and I wanted to kind of keep the chaos with the first. This one was one of my favorites in the series, and it's Leaves. And I'm not sure if you can tell within the image, but there are small sections of scratches in the trees that spell leaves. So I tried to keep the element of letter or the word of the day in each piece. And this one I tried to do kind of, I felt like Bob Ross for a little when I was doing some random coloring and trying to make some foreground and background, playing with happy little trees. Day 6 was track, and so I was thinking of hand tracks, and I just thought of how cute possums are. And so I drew a possum, did a little sketch of a possum, and then looked up their handprints and tried to draw that as well. And played with a little bit of neon lines, depth. This one was another one that I played with the oil brushes of Procreate that I had. And it's this concept of being too big for a hole to get to the thing that you need or want, and thinking of the old toy with the shape doesn't fit. Bangs. So this one, another oil paint pen and other brush tools, because I was really feeling those pens and brushes, and so I just tried to play with that a little, see if I could get something. And I actually like the way it came out, very similar to old style children's books, but adult concepts and angry individuals. Yeah. Amulet. It's pretty self-explanatory. Cat's got an amulet. Playing around with drawing quick cat. That's pretty much it. Day 10 was bubbling. This one I struggled with trying to draw a can, and I used a stippling tool on Canva or Procreate to try to give it some depth and some color. Not a big fan of stippling. I probably wouldn't do that again, but then kind of tried to play with another framing device. Day 11, monstrous, and I'm aware that monstrous is spelled wrong. It was also spelled wrong in the prompts, so I stuck with it so that it fulfilled the prompt. But I thought of this idea of a monstrous man in front of a rather small individual blurred out so that it didn't, they weren't the focus. But I will say that I kind of wish I would have drawn the foreground person a little bit better, but they weren't supposed to be the focus, so gave them a little bit of sunburn too. This is another one of my favorites. So day 12, web. There's an alternate version up in the top, because I wanted to play with some framing devices. I submitted these also to Redbubble, so if you are interested in this one at all as a sticker or put on something, it is on Redbubble, and I will put that in the links below. But on his little scarf it says web. Thought that was cute. Day 13, Murky. Um, I didn't know why I did that in that way, but I was kind of happy with it. This whole concept of like a dead fish floating in a cup is kind of morbid, but it let me play with some color options and try to see if I could draw some liquid contained in a vessel. Day 14, Embark. So this is another one that ended up on Redbubble. I was very happy with how this one turned out. I just like the idea of having backpacking adventure and it using whites and blacks and grays and different gradients, and then having that horn on the side is really. Here's a candle. So yeah, I was playing with this whole idea of what if a candle tried to sabotage another candle with a lighter, and put some books in the background, played with some color, and wanted it to have kind of a chalky feeling, very similar to like a children's book. So that's where that one came in. Day 16, Tails and Tales. This one, I didn't have a whole lot of thought on what I was going to do, so I made a magic book. And then found a little clip art thing of a little cat with butt facing. I like the colors, and I like kind of how the book feels like it's floating. But in general, wasn't my favorite. Day 17 was Mask. This one was inspired largely by the Legion from Dead by Daylight. Concept of wearing a mask and it kind of hiding your humanity, but being very simplistic and gory. Then I added another one of those framing devices. Another one of my favorites, Cackle. So I did a lot of flat colors with highlights and shadows, kind of in a cartoony way, to feel a little bit closer to a comic book character, or this Adventure Time style, something like that. I did a lich. Here's where I played a little bit with some different lettered or like word design, typography. And so I just made a couple different versions of the word fierce. And I will say that my color preference, I really like the bottom left one, the one right here, because it's my favorite color, and it's very swoopy, and I like that. But I do also like this bottom right one for it being a little blockier. On day 20, did stars. So I just took a pattern, made the first initial star, and then kind of kept piecing them in. I don't think it's necessarily a true pattern, because they don't all situate in the same way. But I would like to see what that would look like if it was donned on an entire large piece of fabric. Day 21 was ship. So here I just tried to do a quick thing with a ship. I wasn't too inspired on this day. Wasn't real happy with this piece. It's just very basic, and not a whole lot of effort went into it. And you know, sometimes with art, that's get on someday. On day 22 was Quill. This one felt really good to do because I tried to use a more chalk based brush, and it ended up working pretty well. So yeah, that was black and white. They thought about making a sticker out of this, but I don't think it's necessarily cleaned enough, but it's a fun little piece as it is. Day 23 is Nightshade, so I looked up a character and found Deadly Nightshade comic book. A hero / villain for a while, but and kind of through her, did a little bit of blending, and this was kind of one of my first real attempts at doing a darker complexion and skin tone. So that was a learning process. I think there's some areas where I succeeded and some areas where I didn't succeed. But I really enjoyed the process. Day 24, crystals. I thought of Steven Universe crystal gems, so I took a quiz on what my gem would be, and mine ended up being tourmaline. And based on the coloring, tourmaline can be a lot of different colors, but I chose a couple colors that stuck out to me. And then it also said that like I would have had a basically a rapier, and my gem would have been on my chin. So, but I didn't draw myself. Generally, I just drew whatever felt right. Day 25 is Ancient. This one took me quite a while. I actually really enjoyed the process of this. I started with the foreground. I think that's an area I would probably work a little bit harder on, but I was trying to make sure that wasn't the focus, and that it was the water that was erupting higher than all of those trees and enormous creature coming. And I like the color with the creature. Kind of reminds me a little bit of can't think of his name, but the lizard guy from Monsters Inc. The salamander. I'll put them there. See why I kind of subconsciously did that. Day 26 is Glimmer. So pretty self-explanatory. An eye, but I wanted to put a little bit of on it with some like glitter something. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Day 27 is Fox. So I was thinking, it was very politically heavy time when I was working on this stuff, so I was thinking of Fox News, and what if Fox News had a reporter that was a fox, and so I drew a fox that was a spokesperson for Fox. Yeah. Day 28 was Pride. I enjoyed this one a lot too. This one was very a lot of inspiration from an existing that hug is already an existing design, but I decided to add the circle and lettering and coloring to kind of make it my own. Day 29 was United. So this one I struggled. I was like, how am I going to draw that? So I just decided to design a space republic called Perseon 7. It's a United Republic. So I just designed a flag for it. Day 30 was book, so I just drew a sketch of a book because I'm currently trying to design a children's book for my niefling, whose name is Knox. And so I'm designing that book, and so I decided to take that as an opportunity to sketch it. And day 31 was pumpkin, and so I took this. The left side is a carrot, and that's an actual carrot that I received in my CSA food share. So I took a photo of it and thought, I gotta. So I drew it as having long legs and wearing pants, and then having a pumpkin come in who was concerned about their thickness. So yeah, that's what came out of it. But yeah, overall, very fun. It got difficult at times. It was hard to stay motivated. To be honest, the opportunity to be entered in for a prize helps keep me motivated. So if you want to do some sort of prompt type thing with others and want to put some stakes into it, it's a great way to keep you motivated. There's a lot of things I would do differently if I had to do it again now. I don't know. I feel like I would need to really sit down and think about how much time I want to devote to each piece, because my motivation is honestly a little bit low. This pandemic has made it very difficult to stay motivated. If you have any questions for me, or would like to toss your information down below to show to kind of show us what your prompts are, I would love to take a look at your work. There's a lot of cool work that was submitted alongside me, and I was just very fortunate to have won. So I love looking at people's art, and I think that some of the coolest art has come out of prompts like these and the pandemic in general. So, but I'll stop blabbing on. Thank you for watching. I look forward to doing a little more art stuff on this channel as well, besides just games. So be sure to tune in next time. And I hope you have a great rest of your day whenever you happen to be watching this, and take care and stay safe.